That has actually started to really pee me off. I'm a little bit sad. I'm a little... Hey guys, so it has been 3 months now since I have been living with the Kia Sportage. And in that time, I've gotten to know myself better, but more importantly, I've gotten to know this car better. Some of the things that I really love about this car, but also some of the things that I either really don't like or have grown to really not like. For example, I'm driving the GT line turbo diesel, and I'm not a big fan of how much this thing costs. It's about 58,000 Australian dollars drive away. Now, yes, you can get it with a different powertrain. There's a 1.6 litre turbo, there's a 2 litre naturally aspirated petrol, but one of those engines is pretty bad, and I would really stick away from it. Not to mention, this GT line, while it does come with a lot of tech, and it is pretty damn cool, it wouldn't be the one I would choose because frankly, some of the things, they've just started to annoy me. So anyway, there is a bit to unpick here. It's a word of warning video. When you are speccing your Kia Sportage, you could get something really, really good, but you'll probably want to avoid some of the things I'll tell you in today's review. So today we will go through an exterior tour of the Kia Sportage. We're gonna move on to the interior. I'll show you everything I love and some of the things I just annoy me. We're then going to drive this thing and I will give you my words of warning, but also show you how this thing is still class leading in many ways. And then of course we're going to performance test it. I can't not do that. It's CarSauce. And you know, we use satellite, so it's a cool system. You'll see. And then we'll end on my final thoughts for the Kia Sportage. And if you stick around, because I'm literally dropping this thing back off today, you will have a sneak peek of my new long-termer. So let's get into it. Thank you to today's video sponsor, Wipertech. Wipertech sell high quality and durable wiper blades delivered straight to your door. Designed for all Aussie conditions, these blades fight rust, reduce wind lift, and glide smoothly thanks to their aerodynamic design and Teflon embedded rubber. They're easy to install, offer a perfect fit guarantee, and backed by a full 12-month warranty. Click the link below and use code CarSauce15 during checkout to get 15% off your order plus free express shipping. Thanks to Wipertech for sponsoring today's video. One thing you won't find me doing for the Kia Sportage is bagging the way that it looks because it's a very good looking SUV. I love the daytime running lights, so cool. Here in the GT line, you get fully LED lights up front, including your turning signals and pretty bright LED lights there too. I like the new Kia badge. What do you guys think? It's really grown on me. Also, the grille is, you know, it's big, but it's not like gonna kill you big. You know what I mean? Some cars are just huge. And of course you have radar down there. You've also got some cameras up there. This thing does have a 5-star ANCAP safety rating. And one of the things I've loved while driving this is the autonomous driving features. It really does drive itself down a highway. Let's check out the side. And then coming to the side, you're gonna see these very muddy 19-inch wheels here. They've got a cool alloy design to them, but yeah, it's been terrible weather here in Melbourne and I film on a rural farm. At least it's got all drive. Actually, I'm very grateful for that today. Grip is pretty good, but we'll come back to that. You have a 360 camera here again. Sorry, it's caked in mud. I did wash the car. You've also got keyless entry and go, of course. You would expect that, especially at this price point. Tinted privacy glass there. You've also got some roof rails. And I really like this, just, I don't know, small attention to detail bit here. It doesn't have to be texturized plastic, but it is. I think that's pretty cool. Well, let's check out the bum. And then coming to the bum of the Kia Sportage, I think it's really good looking. Certainly not as ostentatious as the front, but still very good. Got these cool LED tail lights here. Sportage badge spelt out. Kia badge, of course. 4X, that is in reference to this thing having 4-wheel drive, or really all-wheel drive. For those who care, it's a front-wheel drive bias system and will send up to 50% of power to the rear wheels when it detects slip, or you have it in one of its off-road terrain modes, which actually has come in quite handy, but better explain that one. It actually controls the traction control system, so it helps modulate power, essentially. You've also got a bunch of black, scratchy black plastic, but yeah, it's all right. Actually goes really well with this blue paint, which I really like, but green is my favorite, fun fact. But of course, the real test of any SUV is how much you can put in its bum. So let's check that out. Powered tailgate, by the way. Kind of expected at this price point, but good to have. So inside you get a huge amount of space, and it has been so useful. If you are looking for a practical SUV, you will find it in the Kia Sportage, especially because we in Australia get the long wheelbase version of a Kia Sportage. Other markets like Europe get a shorter wheelbase, and really a lot of that space finds its way into the boot. You've also got no load lip, which is awesome for loading things in and out. You don't have much underfloor storage, but I don't actually care because you get a full-size spare wheel, which is awesome if you are going out into the country. It's really good to see. Most manufacturers, even at this price point, will not include that. Oh, I found some lip gloss. Might be quite old. Okay. Putting down the back seats is really easy too. You pull a lever, they just fold so quickly, easily, and then you get a flat loading floor, and it is super spacious. You don't have huge wheel arches intruding. So for those who are looking for a practical SUV, you are going to find it in the Kia Sportage. But let's check out the interior. What kind of annoys me? Okay, so what's the interior space like on the Kia Sportage? And how have I found it now that it's been 3 months? Well, first of all, it's held up pretty damn well. I know we haven't done a huge amount of kilometers in it, but I've spent a lot of hours in it. And that's because I drive this thing mostly in urban environments. In fact, mega urban environments, if I can even call it that. The back seats are relatively clean. I've intentionally only vacuumed this car. I haven't wiped any surfaces down yet. So what are some of the negatives, and why would I not choose this GT line? Well, first of all, it's this piano black here. It's so dusty and just gross. Finger smudges, just like you would expect, right? I don't know why manufacturers keep doing this. That's a minor complaint. The thing I've kind of just started really disliking is actually this screen here. So when I first saw it, it wowed me and I was really enjoying it. But as I have been driving this car and having to interact with it, I find it a little bit annoying that you have to press this button here. It's easy to press now, but when you're driving, it's actually a little bit tough because there aren't, guide rails or anything. You just have to kind of like poke the screen, and often it doesn't register. I don't know, it's just a little bit annoying. I mean, like functionally it works fine. It's just the ergonomics of it aren't that great. So as cool as it is, I don't love it. The infotainment display, something that has actually started to really pee me off, is the lack of wireless Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Now, it has been announced by Kia that they will be finally adding the functionality for wireless Apple CarPlay. So really it's a fault for me, but it's something that, I don't know, it just took a really long time, pissed me off. The screen itself works fine. It's very smudgy now, I'll tell you what, but it has been really good to use. It is certainly one of the snappier systems out there. When you do plug your phone in, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, they work flawlessly. But yeah, not having that almost makes the wireless charger down there redundant. And the weird thing is, in the base model spec we also reviewed, it had wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, and that's because it didn't have navigation. It was just weird quirks like that. The digital instrument cluster in front of me is also really good. Again, it's become quite dusty, but it has cool graphics to it. It is just super functional. But the reality is it's all just aesthetics. It's no more functional than what you'll find on the base model spec either. What you will find nicer in here though is this faux wood soft touch materials in a lot of places. It does feel really plush in here, including these seats, which are very nice. I love the Alcantara and leather design. They're also heated and cooled. This is also something I don't really like though. You got a blank button here. This thing doesn't have a heated steering wheel, and really at this price point I would be expecting that. And certainly not a big blank button there. Speaking of steering wheel though, it is a nice steering wheel to hold on to be fair. It's just super functional. The layout is great and it works well. You've got paddles here. You've also got your shifter. Now, some people have reported this to be getting stuck. I have not experienced that at all. So I guess good for me. You've also got your drive mode selector here and your terrain mode selector too. And I/O is also pretty good. You got a USB-A port, a USB-C port, and a 12-volt socket there. And really for me, that's the standout of the Kia Sportage. It's just the technology that you get in here across the range. It's really good. It's really, really well refined, which I really appreciate because it's now Euro levels of refinement, which is fantastic. Speaking of, storage is great too. You've got this huge storage area here with a couple of hidden cup holders. You've also got a nice center armrest with plenty of storage in there. The glove box is a decent size, and the door bins are also really good. The speakers in here, now yes, they are Harman Kardon branded, but I wouldn't be surprised if they just stuck on a badge because they don't sound great. They're really tinny, like really, really sparkly. So I've turned the highs and mids pretty far down and bass quite far up because it has not been sounding great for me. To be fair, I am a bit of an audio enthusiast, so to each their own. A lot of people might love it. Just something about it that's been doing my head in. And you should also understand here that I'm being critical, but I'm being critical on purpose, because now that I've been living with this thing for 3 months, it really does give me the best authority to talk about what I like and don't like. And another thing I really like is this huge panoramic sunroof. It really lightens up this interior. I'm also grateful that it's just black and darker colors, because for example, my big fat Groodle Willy, he is a messy boy, and it has been very easy to clean. You know, when he's got his paw prints everywhere. That could be really taken out of context. So really, I think you can get about 95% of what you get in here in, for example, the SX grade, which is second from the bottom, and just, it comes with pretty much everything you need. And if you want to learn more about that, actually even less, the base model, go watch our base model review after this. I highly recommend it, and you'll be able to see the difference. I'm not saying I don't like it in here. It's really, really nice, but I just don't think you need to spend the 60 grand for it, frankly. Let's check out the back seats. Okay, so back seats, what's it like back here? Well, as I said, this is the extended wheelbase version of the Sportage, and I'm really grateful for it, because at 5'11", I've got so much legroom, it's not funny. So much headroom and heaps of toe room too. So sitting back here, it is one of the most comfortable in the class, hands down. I/O is fantastic too. You've got 2 USB-C ports in the seats. You've got little hooks here. You've also got nice map pockets, couple of air vents, and a big open storage area there too. Material quality, it takes a hit in the back, but it's still quite nice, at least in the places that you actually touch. You've also got a tablet holder here. You can also hang your jacket there too. It's got a nice little bit of rubber padding there, so I think parents will really appreciate that. This seat's just as nice as up front. There's no heated seats in the back though, which I think is a little bit of a shame. I mean, it's a pretty unnecessary feature for most people, but it does come in some competitors, including, I'm pretty sure, the Tucson, this thing's brother. You've also got a nice center armrest, nice softly padded with a couple of cup holders in here. I also really appreciate this panoramic sunroof from back here, and check this out. Oh, you can really recline the back seats. That's pretty cool. But now, oh, too far. Oh, there we go. Let's talk about how this thing drives and a word of warning for powertrains. Let's do it. I love this feature so much. Oh, how good is that? Okay, so taking the Kia Sportage GT line turbo diesel for its final drive, well, at least with me. I'm a little bit sad. I'm a little, oh, give me that turbo diesel power, baby. So, powering my long-term Kia Sportage is the engine that I tell everyone to get. It is, of course, the 2-litre turbo diesel. It puts out 137 kilowatt of power, 416 newton meters of torque, both of which are pretty serious figures. Oh, we're coming up to a cool corner. Let's put the car into sport mode. Come on, baby. How did she go? Oh, that Australian tuned suspension is really good. I've actually spoken with the guy that does the Australian suspension tuning quite a few times. Fascinating man, a real like genius when it comes to suspension setup. So yeah, I'm not surprised that this thing is so good. Back to the engines though, there are a couple of other engines. The one I would say is okay to get is actually the 2-litre naturally aspirated 4-cylinder petrol. That's front wheel drive only. And I mean, it's okay. It's definitely a cheaper entry into the Kia Sportage. And even though it's a little bit enigmatic, a little bit slow, it's certainly a lot better than the 1.6-litre turbo petrol, which is completely let down by its 7-speed dual clutch transmission. Really bad. And as I said to you guys, I have been driving this diesel mostly in town, very urban environment, which is not necessarily where you want a diesel, because they do have a diesel particulate filter that can get clogged if you're not driving it on highway routes, because they need to burn off stuff. Oh, what was that? Oh, I've got lightsabers in the back. I forgot about that. Decent amount of pulling power. So yeah, I've been driving my dog, my little backseat Prince in the back of this car to and from the park. I've been going to Coles and Woolies, and yeah, none of that is very riveting stuff, but it's doing my daily driving essentially, which is very short runs, mostly in town, and I've had 0 issues with this engine. And of course, I've done a few longer trips as well, and just every time I come back to this engine, I just think, wow, it is so good. Paired with the 8-speed torque converter transmission that this thing has, it's seamless. Not to mention the all-wheel drive is fantastic, especially on wet days like today. Of course, I do have it in sport mode, so the steering is nice and heavy. Oh, and here we are at Saucy Corner. So let's really display this car's sporty prowess. Brake boost, launch it. Oh, didn't like that pop. Anyway, that hasn't happened before. Okay, we're at Saucy Corner. Let's go through corner numero uno. It just handles so well. Even though it has an international steering tune, it seems to do a good job. Oh, we do have to cross over there though. And this is what I found about the car, is it's just one of the most comfortable little SUVs I've driven. Definitely tuned towards that, I guess, firmer end, but that's a good thing because it means that bumps in the road don't unsettle it. It's still extremely comfortable even out here in the country with pretty terrible roads. And possibly every car's biggest critic, my fiance Monique, has loved driving this thing, and she has spent just as much time driving it as I have. I mean, at this point, it's essentially her car, and she's really sad that we're giving it back today. I'll be honest, me too. It's really good. Also, fuel economy. Amazing. So I'm a bit of a nincompoop and I reset the trip computer about halfway through our loan, but we're still getting 8.1 litres per 100 kilometres. Now, that might seem high. What you need to understand is that's mostly in town urban settings. I mean, bumper to bumper traffic, taking my dog to the dog park, going to Coles, things in my local area. So I'm really impressed by that. And on this drive, we're getting about 6.8 litres per 100 kilometres, with about 20 kilometres of that being really in town, like bumper to bumper traffic is terrible. So that's impressive. On highway, I'm regularly getting about 5.7 litres per 100 kilometres, which is amazing. Not to mention just the amount of features you have in here that are all just completely refined, unlike some competitor brands from, let's just say, the Asian region. And so when you combine that with just a really good powertrain, I have loved my time with this. But I do think my experience would be different if I had that 1.6 litre turbo petrol, just because of, well, frankly, how poorly calibrated that whole system is. But let's get into the ultimate test of any long-term vehicle, and that is, how quick is it? How fast is it from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour? Let's test that out. Alrighty, for what is probably the most ultimate maximum test for any family SUV, we're gonna launch it. So let's put the car into sport mode. There we are. We're gonna turn traction off one. Don't do this at home, kids. I'm a trained professional. Brake boosting it. Here we go. Tell you what, it hooks up really well. Okay, Mr. Diesel, I'll take it. 0 to 100 in 8.61 seconds. It's actually pretty decent for a diesel car. All right, let's get into our final thoughts. See, now, I don't know why, but I always get a little bit emotional when I give back a long-termer. It's like weird sentimental value. Anyway, I'm here. This is my last time sitting in the Kia Sportage. And, well, here are my final thoughts on this thing. If I was in the market right now to buy a family mid-size SUV, it would still be the Kia Sportage. It's got a really nice interior. It drives really well, but I would just be really careful with the engine use spec. I'd get the diesel, I'd get the 2 litre naturally aspirated petrol. Sorry, it's super bright. That's why I'm squinting. And you don't need to spend big bucks. You don't need the GT line. Get the SX or even the base model. They're both really good. And because I've already teased you enough, here is my long-termer. It's a good one, I promise. It is the new Santa Fe with the hybrid engine, which I'm really excited for, and it's more of a filler before I get into my next long-termer, which is more exciting. Thanks for watching. Ciao for now.